Hey everybody, going live right after the Michigan loss. Hope that light isn't in your way. It's pretty disappointing on a lot of levels. Alabama didn't play well at all. The defense played pretty well. James Burnett played pretty well. Will Riker did everything he could do. Um, I'll tell you, um, that last play call, I don't know if that was something that Jalen did on his own, or if Tommy Rees said we're actually going to run it up the middle when they've been really dominating that aspect all game. I'm waiting on Jimmy Stein to join me. Want to get your comments, so feel free to go ahead and send them. As upset as you probably are, I'm also that upset. But you know, we made the playoffs. It's still a win in terms of the season. If you ask me, I'm not gonna be down on this team. But at the same time, that was pretty atrocious, that last little bit. And this team, we needed a big stop on 4th and 2, and on their side of the field, and we couldn't get it. I knew we were in trouble, frankly, when they fumbled the second punt towards the end of the game, and that ball took one of the weirdest bounces, like Mark Ingram's in the Iron Bowl in 2010. And I thought that was a bad omen. It was just a pretty rough. It's a sad way to end that season. It'll go down as a fantastic ball game, I think, nationally. There'll be a lot of people happy that Nick Saban's out. There'll be some mad that Jeremy Harbaugh's moving on. As I'm waiting on Jimmy Stein to join, and boy, so many things went wrong today, and just trying to get my head around these initial reactions that I have. We played as bad as we could play in the first half outside of that initial, it wasn't even a drive. I mean, we went on the muff punt. We ended up scoring a touchdown. Really wasn't even a drive. And then we just got pushed around for a while. And I thought that set the tone. And then we come out in the second half, we looking fine. We have a nice drive going. And then the bad snap, two in a row, really hurt us again. And I know there's going to be a lot laid at the feet of Tommy Rees for the last play call, which was bad. I mean, somebody mentioned to me, they were like, there's no way Tommy Rees called that, right? Like purposefully called that to go straight up the middle when we've been getting hammered in the middle all game. And maybe Milroe thought he could do it. I'd like to hear. I'm going to try and have the press conference here in just a few minutes, and boy, it's going to be interesting to talk about this one and talk about this after the press conference and see what exactly Nick Saban is going to have to say, because God, that's going to be tough, y'all. I can read some of these comments really quickly while waiting on Jimmy to get in here. A lot of people are on Tommy Rees and a lot of people are on Jalen Milroe. I get it. And ET says it feels like, I think he's saying Rees had no faith in Milroe at the end. I don't know. I don't know if I even want that. I'm almost hoping that Milroe decided to make that call on his own, because I can forgive that. It's going to be hard for me to forgive Tommy Rees for saying, yeah, run it up the middle with Jalen Milroe, when the world thinks that's going to happen. When the world thinks that's going to happen. That's what's going to be the biggest problem for me to deal with. I'm going to read some of these other comments because I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around this thing. Fresh Tendril says that was without a doubt the worst play call in the history of Alabama football. It's up there. If that was the play call, if that wasn't Jalen Milroe going rogue, it was pretty bad. I want to know, some of y'all watching right now, do you want Michigan to win now? or are you pulling for Texas or Washington? I guess I'm sort of pulling for Washington now to win. I mean, I guess. Maybe Texas because they're going to be in the SEC. So hooking and booking bros say we deserve the loss. Seth McLaughlin and the line was not good, says Anthony Robinson. That is so true. One national championship in the past 6 years. The program is good, but no longer elite. I mean, come on, Billy Bob. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that. I mean, that's the definition of elite, is that we're in the conversation every single year. Not everybody is. There's a very select few that are. And we are. And we're going to be in it again next year. We did get manhandled, Kelvin Evans. Andrew Hill says the game plan is fireable. I'm sorry, but Reese has to go. I'm all for giving Reese some more time. We were lauding Reese with praise 5 minutes before this game started. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good game plan either way. And so there was a lot that went wrong today. I said about midway through the game that, boy, this is going to sound weird, but I'm not so 100% sure that James Burnip isn't our MVP. And frankly, I'd probably still stick by that James Burnip, the punter, is our MVP. He overcame the running into the punter, which he got a knee to the calf, it looked like to me, which hurts. If you've ever played any sport and you've got a knee to the calf, that hurts badly. And if you're a punter and you need your calf. So, yeah, that hurt. And he played through it, and then he had some really great punts. He dealt with some pressure. He dealt with some heat. And the last punt, he punted it just perfectly. And the Michigan player fumbled it, and it took a weird bounce. It took a weird Mark Ingram 2010 Iron Bowl bounce. And look, Angelo Cavaletti says, great season. We'll get him next year. I'm with you. Let me say this, too. Somebody else just mentioned Justice Haynes. The comments are coming so fast, it's hard for me to give everybody credit. Justice Haynes, yes, I'm pro Justice Haynes. I thought it was odd that he was out there so much because I didn't know that he was going to get that much run. Did anybody else? There's been no indication from any practice report that I've gotten, that I've read, that I've heard from any sources, anything, that Justice Haynes was going to get that much run. But he did. When he was in there, he was good. There was also a really bad play in there, if y'all remember, when we were trying to have another drive, and I think this probably would have helped a lot. And we flared it out to Haynes, and it was so bad and so fast that I'm like, have we even practiced that? Lucas says Isaiah Bond should have been the target. I'm with you on that. That's what I was thinking. I had a bad feeling we were going to do exactly what we did, that we were going to run it up the middle. And I had a really, really bad feeling about that, because that seemed like the safe thing to do. You weren't going to win this game being safe. I really believe that. I think Michigan proved that, but when they went for it 4th and 2 in their own territory, and I thought that they said, we're going to be aggressive. They did some things very outside their comfort zone. They threw it to the Blake Corum. I think that's his first receiving touchdown of the year. I mean, so I'm trying to wait on Jimmy, waiting on the press conference to get started. I know some of you guys want to hear that too. And I'm waiting on it to come up. So hopefully it will be coming up here shortly. Sorry, that was something else, but I'm bummed. I know y'all are bummed too. And here's Jimmy joining me now, gratefully. Jimmy, how you doing,
yes, buddy? I'm doing all right. Yourself?
For those who don't know, we'll sort of get started just like we do normal Locked On Bama. This is not going to be your average podcast. This is going to be our instant reaction podcast. Hey, everybody, welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel and also, I hope, by Nalzine. Jimmy, I think I don't know if you can see the comments up there, but I'm getting them right now. And
I cannot, but I can imagine, but I cannot.
I want to tell you that there's a lot of Tommy Rees, Jalen Milroe hate right now. Let me. I know before you get disgusted with that, let me say this. First of all, this is instant reaction, and I think we need to remember the fans are also having their instant reaction, and we're fans too. But I think it's okay right now to be like, what was that on the last play? What was that? That was awful. That was. I don't have any faith in what my team is doing. And somebody might say, well, hey, you got a 6'4", 240-pound behemoth at running back playing quarterback, and why don't you let him run it? I could be with you, but up the middle, Michigan had owned us. They had owned us on that drive. They had tackled us for like a 7-yard loss just a minute ago, right up the middle. The guy shot right up the middle. So I don't understand why we had 3 timeouts with Burton's injury, our timeout and their timeout and our timeout, why we thought that going up the middle would be what we need to do. When and so I don't know, Jimmy, as we were on a text chain with a bunch of friends, somebody brought up the point, I think Jalen Milroe went rogue on that one. There's no way Tommy Rees actually called that. And I'm sort of hoping Jalen Milroe did go rogue, because if he did, you know what? I can forgive him for that, because I'm like, hey, that's a dude on the field trying to be a leader saying, I'm going to go get this done. I can get it. If Tommy Rees actually called that play, I'm like, really?
I don't. I mean, I believe that was the call play. I don't believe Milroe went rogue. I think it was just quarterback draw. That was the call. First of all, I wanted to say I don't like the call. I didn't like it. I would do something else. I'm also not an offensive coordinator. I would have done a roll. I would have rolled out Milroe, rolled him out, and given him a run pass option. That's what I would have done. Now, that said, I did think this and even say this out loud before they did it. I'm a big fan of dying with your best pitch. I never want my pitcher on the mound to get beat with his second best pitch, with the season on the line, with the game on the line. If your best pitch is a fastball, then you're throwing a fastball. I mean, if your best pitch is a breaking ball, then you're throwing a breaking ball. I don't like getting beat on your second best pitch. And I thought to myself, at the 3-yard line, what's Alabama's best chance to make 3 yards? I really thought it was Milroe and not one of the backs. When they sent in Roy Dell, I sort of thought it was a tell, and that's what I didn't. That's where I started not liking the call. Was I thought with Roy Dell in, who hadn't played much in the whole game, to be honest. They had gone with Jason, Justice, and Jam. I thought putting Roy Dell in was sort of like a tell, like, well, they're not going to the back now. I mean, you're really going to put the whole season on Roy Dell after not trusting him for 60 minutes?
Yeah.
So I didn't like it starting with that. So I didn't like it. But I think the criticism is silly a little bit. I mean, in the sense of, what did y'all want to do that was going to work? I mean, there's no certainties there. Milroe is probably the best option in my mind, running the football. I didn't like the quarterback draw call. I would have rolled him out and told him, keep the ball unless somebody is wide butt open. If someone's wide butt open, then throw it. If not, you're running that ball in.
Agreed. Now,
but I don't like the QB draw up the middle. But Alabama didn't lose the game because of that snap. No, Alabama lost the game because, frankly, in a very unpopular opinion, I'm sure, Alabama's just not the best team in the country. Michigan might be. Michigan might be the best team in the country. Alabama's not. Alabama's one of the best teams in the country. But this I said all year, Luke, this was the 2014 team. All year, this was Jalen Milroe reminded me of Blake Sims' 2014 team. That 2014 team also lost in the semifinals to a team they weren't good enough to beat.
From the Big Ten.
From the Big Ten. That's what happened here. I mean, I know that's not popular, and I know I'm going to get hate for that, but I said that in 2014. Now look back at that 2014 Ohio State team and look at the litany of NFL Hall of Famers. I'm not saying this Michigan team is quite as good as that team, but they're probably close. Alabama just lost to a better team by one play.
Agreed. Now, I want to say something. I've seen a lot of comments on there. I'm getting some more Seth McLaughlin hate again, which I also get because I'm going to tell you the truth. I mean, and you're not blaming this on one player. I'm not blaming this game on any one player, but his snaps have been so consistently bad that, boy, you really hate that we finally got a drive going in the second half. We get the ball back, and he has 2 bad snaps in a row that kill it. They're just momentum.
It was a bad snap at the end. I'm not saying Milroe would have scored, but it was a bad snap on the QB draw at the end. That wasn't a good snap either. I mean, there's been a ton of terrible snaps that Milroe just simply fielded and made a play of, but it was still a bad snap. The snaps are too bad all the time, not the ones that are spectacularly bad, but the ones that Milroe has to field at his ankle or over his shoulders it's an absurd number.
It's terrible. Now, Jimmy, I do want to say one thing, and Dexter Wright, I love you. You watch our show a lot. I'm not calling you out at all, but I do want to say this. You have a comment in here that says, Ree's play calling since Georgia has been terrible. This is the only game we played since Georgia, I think. So if you're making a joke, I'm down with it, because I thought he called a piss poor game today, 100%. But at the same time, if you're saying, hey, his play calling since Georgia, and you've just forgotten that this is the only game between Georgia and I just want to refresh you. I love you, Dexter Wright, and I don't want to make you upset and make you quit watching us. I just wanted to point that out. Dexter Wright, he said the Georgia game was trash too. I don't know. I mean, we did.
What?
We beat them. Now,
look, the team that won 29 games in a row and back-to-back national.
Let's also say this.
I mean,
let's also say, Jimmy, I want a couple of things. I want to throw out a couple of positives before we get to wait a minute. Arthur Bell 6797. I guess he is a Florida State fan. Not even cheating, ESPN and Herb Street could help you. Karma. Saban's 85-year-old, but lost his touch. We're in the playoffs. We just lost in overtime in the playoffs. I'm not mad.
Hey, on that note, I will say thank you. Now, we're emotionally affected because we're Alabama people. Thank you to the committee.
Yeah.
Thank you to the committee for having the guts to do the right thing and giving America a fantastic overtime football game between 2 good teams, and it came down to one play at the end. If the committee didn't have the guts to do what they did, America would have just watched a 31-7, 28-3 blowout, non-competitive football game.
I'm sorry.
And I'm not talking about the Florida State team that lost to Georgia. I'm talking about the Florida State team that lost to Louisville. That team with Tate Rodemaker would have lost by 4 touchdowns minimum to this really good Michigan team. And the committee gave a gift to America, even if people are looking the gift horse in the mouth or whatever the saying is.
I don't get Florida State's. First of all, this Arthur, he says, where's Feinbaum, the crypt keeper? If you're making fun of Feinbaum, that doesn't make fun of us. We also think he looks like the crypt keeper. That's fine. But if I'm Florida State right now, I'm playing a game of quiet mouse. You know why? My team just lost by the most points by anybody in bowl history and this was a major bowl. And Florida State didn't even have arguably their best player playing.
UT Martin was better against Georgia than Florida State's freshman and third team.
Okay. Feinbaum, Travis B says Feinbaum is about to have a heyday. I agree. And this is what Feinbaum makes a gazillion dollars on when things like this happen.
That's just irrelevant to me. I mean, to me, it's just about Alabama and what Alabama does from here. And to me, it's all about, from this point forward, getting better. Alabama was really, really close. I mean, Michigan may win the national championship. They're very, very good. Alabama was 1 play short. What does Alabama have to do in the next 365 days to make up for that one play? You're not this is what I will talk about all year. Alabama doesn't need to break it all down and start over. They need to fine tune it.
All right, Jimmy, we're going to go to the press conference live now.
Our next question will be from the front here.
You guys, let me know if you have any problem hearing it. I cannot hear that question. And I cannot hear him for some reason. I have no idea.
I think the voice. There you go.
Oh, I got it now.
You won the championship. You didn't win the championship. As a coach, you're always trying to get your team to improve and be the best that they can be. And I think this team probably improved from the South Florida game and the Texas game early in the season as much as any team I've ever coached. And that takes a lot of hard work, a lot of people being very committed to doing things that they need to do to self-assess and improve their game. And all these players bought in on this team and did it in first-class fashion. So that's why I think, for me as a coach, maybe not for everybody else, it's one of the teams that I always remember most and be the most proud of.
Our next question will be from the blue jacket in the middle there.
This one's for Jalen Miller, Ryan Hennessy, WBTM in Birmingham. Coach said, he wished he could have done more, but many people are saying this is one of his best years coaching. What does Coach Saban mean to you and this team mean to you in general this year?
100%. Coach means a lot to us. We play even harder, knowing that the coach has the belief system in us. Just listening to him talk, he talks about, how proud he is of this team. We have a lot of things we can be proud of from this season. Could have easily lingered and past mistakes. Could have easily went in the tank when things weren't good. But the biggest thing we did was continue to improve, continue to have singular focus in our approach when it came to preparation and when it came to attacking the task at hand. There's a lot of things to be proud of. But one thing I am proud of is how much Coach Saban, harped on his belief system on us.
Our next question comes from the gentleman in the jacket there.
This is Johnny Condon, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. Coach Saban, this is for you. In the first half, they were sending blitzes and pressures, and I think they got you 4 or 5 times in the first half. From a communication standpoint, what was breaking down in the first half?
Well, not one particular thing. There was a couple times when we could have redirected the protection, which we kind of put on the O-line to a large degree, and we didn't do it. A couple times the shot clock was running down and we didn't get a chance to do it. And a couple times we didn't fan and misexecuted up front in terms of getting the right guys blocked when we were in the right protection. So it was a combination of several things. I thought we did a better job in the second half, but we didn't give Jadon an opportunity to make some plays, nor our receivers make some plays down the field, which was a big part of this game.
Our next question will come from the front here.
Coach Saban, could you talk about the last play and what made that one the best one that you wanted to go with?
We called 3 plays. One they called timeout, one we called timeout, and the last one that didn't work. So the fact that it didn't work made it a really bad call. You know what I mean? So, but we called timeout because we had a bad look. We had a good look on the first one. They must have known it. But Tommy just felt like the best thing that we could do was have a quarterback run, which was kind of our 2-point play, one of our 2-point plays for this game. And the ball was on the 3-yard line, which is just like a 2-point play. So, but we didn't get it blocked, so it didn't work. We didn't execute it very well, and it didn't work. And they pressured, and we thought they would pressure, but we thought we could gap them and block them and make it work, and it didn't.
Next question comes from the right here.
Hi, Jalen. Mark Myers, AP Radio. How did you see that last play unfold, and why didn't it work from your perspective?
First thing, I'm appreciative of my coaching staff for believing in me to have the ball in my hands on that last play. You win some, you lose some. It's all part of the game, With anything, all it came down was fall back to your level of training, and we just failed on that play. That's all it was, because at the end of the day, I just trusted the guys up front for believing in me on the last play to have the ball, and unfortunately, we just missed, and we just didn't get in the end zone.
We have time for 2 more questions. We have one right here in the blue jacket.
For Jalen, Mike Rodak with 247. How much have you and Seth worked on that quarterback center exchange this year, and why in your mind was it still an issue at this point in the year?
With anything, it takes preparation, whether it's pass protection, whether it's running game, the passing game. The quarterback and the center have to have a great relationship, and that is something that we try to build throughout the whole season. There's a multitude of things that me and Seth talk about, and in that regard, that's something we do talk about.
Our last question will come here from the front.
Chase Goodrow with the
That was
Tuscaloosa
a
News for
talented
Coach Saban.
non-answer.
Special teams was an area where y'all seem to have a pretty big advantage tonight. It was a big reason. I think you were only down 3 at the halftime. Can you just speak to special teams tonight?
I think special teams did
I'm going to tell you, God bless Nick Saban. God bless having to sit up there after you get your guts ripped out. But I'm not going to talk about special teams right now too much. Other than this, Jimmy, I'll say this, that I said about midway through the third, I was with a group of people. Carson Nash says, Eagle, Eagle, War Eagle, why would you be here? Y'all haven't had to worry about anything in so long. I don't know why that's an issue. But regardless, I said our punter might be our MVP. And I swear, Jimmy, I might say James Burnip was the best player. Will Reichert was second. Yeah. Because you can't say all our special teams are good, because I'll say this. We had 2 decisions to bring at least 2 that I remember, to bring the ball out off kickoffs. And why would the first one was so bad, and it lit up Kendrick Law so much that they showed the sideline of Michigan. They were laughing. I was like, I wonder if their laughing is going to come back to haunt us, or if that means that's how confident they are. Turned out that's how confident they were. But we just aren't good on kick returns this year. We're just not good at it. So let's not do it. Let's not do the things we're not good at.
I will say that Will Reichert is, I've been an Alabama fan for a lot longer than a lot of people listen to the show because I'm old. Will Reichert is the best kicker I've ever seen at the University of Alabama. We've had some good ones, from Van Tiffin to Philip Doyle to even Lee Tiffin, who was an All-American. Will Reichert's the best kicker it's ever been at the University of Alabama, my lifetime, which is about half of as long as Alabama's been playing football, I think. Thank you to Will Reichert, who ended on a great note. He had a monster game, 2 50-yard field goals that helped Alabama stay in this game, potentially win the game. We'll miss him terribly. He's as good as it gets in college football, and what a great kid on top of it all. And then James Burnip, who went from, frankly, just not good 2 years ago to adequate last year to elite now. I mean, he's an elite college punter. We got ripped on that first thing. He got hit. Should have been called. Should have been Alabama first down. Burnip was fantastic. I hope he comes back. Burnip could go to the NFL, possibly. I think that's something we don't talk about enough. I think he might be good enough. These NFL people that chart punts have to be really impressed with Burnip's ascent, because if he makes another ascent, James Burnip had a higher average per punt than J.K. Scott did at Alabama at any point. That's ridiculous. And Burnip is just super elite. So I agree, we had issues in the return game all year, punt return and kick return, but the coverage was pretty good all year. And I don't know that we've ever had a better duo at kicker punter than we have right now.
No, I agree with that. And look, I want to say this too, because this always comes into play at some point. Somebody will throw out something about it. I thought the officiating was fine. I mean, yeah, they missed the call on Burnip. They missed a late hit call, if you ask me, on Terrion Arnold, I think, when a guy was going out of bounds. They scored a touchdown anyway, so it didn't matter. But, you miss calls. It happens. And
I wasn't upset with the officiating. Yeah. I thought the officiating was fine. They obviously decided, hey, we're going to let these players decide the game. We're going to be on TV as little as possible, which I love. I love that concept. Yeah. But I thought that there was some holding that could have been called here and there. But sure, it didn't decide the game. I'm adamant. And again, I'll be unpopular for saying this, but I'll say it on BOL too. I said it in 2014, walking out of the Superdome when Alabama lost to Ohio State. Alabama just wasn't quite good enough to win this game. The better team won the game. And I just find no shame in the fact that Alabama was more like the 3rd best team or the 4th best team, because that's what they were a year ago. They were the 3rd best team or the 4th best team a year ago. And that's where they are. They've slipped, but they've slipped from 1st to 3rd or 4th. Anyone that wants to blow it all up and start all over again is moronic, to be honest. They're just, I think when you're a play short, you're a player short. So all they need is to get these highly recruited kids in a better position, little bit better, a little more experience. And one more thing, a difference in this game, J.J. McCarthy. It's not that J.J. McCarthy's better than Jalen Milroe. It's that he's older than Jalen Milroe. This is year 2 for Jalen McCarthy, who is now 26-1. That's a heck of a reservoir to draw from in a critical game that Milroe doesn't have, but he will have next year. And I think J.J. McCarthy's experience won out in this game, and that will be something Jalen Milroe doesn't lack 1 year from now.
No, I agree with you. And, I think, look, I keep seeing some people saying another 2-loss season. Those are our gripes. That's why we need reality checks every now and again, because I'm going to tell you something. There's a good chance we lose 2 games next year and still win the national championship. There's a decent chance of that. We have a very difficult schedule. We'll still make the playoffs, and nobody will want to bet against us. That's just the way it is. I mean, we're still a thing. This dynasty is dead stuff. Y'all quit with that. I mean, we're right in the middle of everything still. And even if Saban were to retire today, which he's not, let's just let it keep playing out. We're going to have a lot more to say about this. We obviously want to talk about some of the young guys that got in. Antonio Kite's in the game for a good bit. Justice Haynes in the game.
Justice Haynes.
I mean, Justice Haynes was a dude. I mean, I was really, really thrilled to death with what he was doing. In fact, I was like, yeah, we could have seen him a lot more. But Isaiah Bond will be back. Hopefully Ryan Williams will be on this team next year. I think he will. There'll be a lot of positives for next year, and we're going to have a lot of time to digest all this. And look on this bright side. I just saved myself probably about $6,500 for not having to go to the national championship game. That really helped me.
A lot more for me. I'd secured tickets, but they were going to be $1,700.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend that instead on beer. Yay.
Like you're just talking about the rest of this evening. But yeah, so man, appreciate all you guys chiming in and having comments with us. I mean, this is cathartic for us, and it was tough, but I'm not disappointed. I'm disappointed.
I'm not either. I'm disappointed. I feel like we had opportunities and we didn't play our best. I mean, I think there's a better Alabama team out there, but honestly, I feel a lot like 2014. I mean, I know I'm going to bring it up all the time. 2014, we lose to Ohio State, won the national championship, and I really felt like, gosh, we were so close, and we could have done this and we could have done that, but Ohio State was just a little better than we are. I think this Michigan team, veterans, 3 times in a row in the playoff, and this is their best team of the 3 years. J.J. McCarthy, again, now 26-1 as a starting quarterback at Michigan. Blake Corum, an outstanding back. They got dudes all over the place. I love Sandstrill, the nickelback on defense. He's great. They whipped us up front. And we have players, I don't want to call them out. I thought 52 for us, that was the worst game, I think, of his career, which is saying a lot, which is, by the way, his career is going to end in being a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He's one of the best guards ever played at Alabama, but today was a little rough for him. I think Seth is a real interesting situation for Alabama. It's very frustrating, and I appreciate Seth for all the good things. Because I saw one, it's perfectly illustrated by this, Luke, on Alabama's touchdown. I think it was the first touchdown. Seth had a terrible snap again, and it screwed the whole play up. But we scored. You know why? Because Seth knocked the dude he was blocking on his butt. I mean, Seth's a good blocker. He's good after the snap. And for all the people like, you can't snap the ball, he snapped it in 2022 just fine. That's what's so frustrating about it. It's like, and what are they going to do? And for those that just want to choose whatever's behind curtain number 2, that's not how coaching works. That's not how
I want this to work. And we're going to, a lot of people are going to talk about this. The similarities between 2014, 2024, I guess, are going to end up being, just incredible. I mean, you got 2 quarterbacks that people doubted a lot, but also gave you magical moments. You lose to Big Ten teams with very, very good running backs. I mean, I don't know.
Win the SEC.
Yeah.
Win the SEC both years.
To get in the playoffs. Otherwise you don't get it, But it's funny. There have been some more Auburn people joining, which is expected. Look, I go to Auburn boards when they lose. I enjoy the tears just like y'all enjoy our tears. I get it. But it's funny because Timothy Youngblood says Ryan Williams wants to play with the winners at AU. Well, then I assume he's going to be on the equestrian team. And then Adonis Carr says Ryan Williams is following his dad's footsteps. So he's going to go to Auburn and then transfer.
Is it Louisiana Tech?
Yeah. No, I think he ended up at didn't he end up at Jacksonville State?
I thought it was one of the Louisiana schools,
Maybe.
but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's one of the Louisiana schools, but he was only there at Auburn for a year, and I don't think he played a lot, or if any at all. I mean, hey, whatever Ryan does, and whatever Auburn does. I mean, hey, Auburn, y'all have a fun off season.
Yeah, I mean, again,
if Alabama losing in the playoff makes y'all's off season, that's a little weird to me.
It's weird.
But
it's weird.
Hey, if y'all are happy when we're sad, congratulations. We're sad. Congratulations. We're sad. Congratulations.
Yeah. I am sad. I am not despondent. I could see, Jimmy, I don't know if I said this while you were on there. I could see this coming when we punted and late, and they fumbled the punt, and the punt actually hits the return, like it goes through his arms, hits his elbow, and then takes a weird turn like Mark Ingram 2010 Iron Bowl to stay out of the end zone. If that ball goes in the end zone, we tackle him, we get a safety. It's that simple. But it didn't.
Yeah.
And because it took a weird turn, and that
didn't get a lot of breaks. How about the Caleb Downs interception, where that was just a weird? I mean, Caleb Downs intercepts that ball to start the game because his heel, just one half of his foot, was out of bounds, and he's a defensive player. It's not like he's an offensive player. If Caleb had just somehow hopped inbounds, anyway, I'm just saying, Alabama didn't get a lot of breaks here, but hey, that's fine. All credit to Michigan. I'm not a huge Jim Harbaugh fan in any way, but I will say that's a really good football team. They've been in the playoffs 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row in the playoffs, and this is the best of it. And I don't know whether they're going to play Texas or Washington. I don't know, but I'll tell you this: Texas or Washington better strap.
Yeah, they're going to get after them. Now, I got to throw one more thing in here. Michael Chandler Keaton, who props to using your full name on the internet like that. I guess you don't want to put your phone number and social security number up, but he says, Bama beat an unhealthy Georgia. Stop pretending like a healthy Georgia wouldn't smash Bama easily. That's what we said after the 2021 national championship, and y'all called us crybabies. So, Michael, Chandler, Keaton, understand that works both ways. I'm doing this to pretend as if I'm yelling to the screen.
We have just been awarded the 2021 national championship per that fine Auburn fan.
He might have been a Georgia fan. I don't know. He didn't have
or Georgia fan.
He just had his full name. He didn't have all his information.
And I know Jace McClellan is not Brock Bowers. I know that, but Alabama didn't have a full lineup either.
Yeah. So I mean, it happens, and it's part of it. And hey, sometimes you win, sometimes you strap it up, and sometimes you lose. And
I sworn I saw Brock Bowers catching balls out there too. I thought I saw Brock playing in that game and catching balls and looking like a good football player.
Yeah, Michigan had more dudes than I'll give them credit for. I have no problem saying Michigan impressed me more than I thought they would.
They're what I've said all along. They're really good at the line of scrimmage. They won the Joe Moore Award 2 of the past 3 years, and could have won it 3 years in a row if their guard. That was Michigan without their best offensive lineman, by the way. I mean, if they had never lost that guy, they might have won 3 in a row. They're very good in the defensive line. A ton of guys getting the Senior Bowl. Per Pro Football Focus, Michigan has more draftable upperclassmen than any team in the country, including Alabama and Georgia. That's a real good football team. I do think Alabama fans, as usual, underestimate the opponent a little bit. Michigan's very good, and J.J. McCarthy is going to play. He's going to be an NFL football player. Alabama is the reason J.J. McCarthy didn't look like Tom Brady out there. Alabama's a good team. Again, I think when the dust all settles, I will proudly say, that Alabama was probably the 3rd or 4th best team this year. I thought they were the 3rd or 4th best team last year. And hey, it's going to take some improvement to get back to being the best team. I think Alabama has a shot to be the best team next year.
Yep. I'm with you. And again, I know I keep pump faking it, signing off, but the comments keep rolling in. I keep digging them. So, again, I want, if you're an Alabama fan on here, walk away. I mean, yeah, be disappointed. It's fine. Mourn this loss. This is mournable. It's okay to be sad. At the same time, do remember we won the SEC. We ended Georgia's winning streak. We beat Auburn in heartbreaking fashion, which was fun. We beat LSU again in the Heisman Trophy winner. We beat Tennessee again after trailing 20-7 at halftime. And our team got better. They didn't play well today. They did not play well at all. In fact, I would say they played a lot more like they played against Auburn than they played against Georgia today. Now, some of that was Michigan. Some of that was Michigan making that happen. So I'm just saying from our perspective. Adam Lamparello, he says Saban was outcoached. He's also been on the comments a lot saying that Milroe shouldn't be the starter next year. I'm going to totally disagree with you. I think that Milroe has me sold until he has me unsold. And it's going to take a lot to unsell me at this point.
I'm going to say all offseason that Jalen Milroe is the rightful favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, and I think he might. But that's going to be on Jalen improving. I think where Jalen needs to improve, and we saw some of that tonight, is a lot of the film study part. I think a lot of times we lose on the pre-snap read. We need to improve pre-snap read, sliding protections, making protection calls on pre-snap reads, and post-snap, just making more consistent, good decisions in terms of run, throw, and what you're going to do with the ball. But that's something you can really improve on in an offseason. And if Jalen improves on those things in the offseason, I think he may win a Heisman Trophy. I don't think it'll really be up for debate as to who Alabama's quarterback is next season. I think it'll be Jalen Milroe, but I also think it's good that he gets pushed and to improve on his deficiencies. And between Ty Simpson, if he returns, if Dylan Lonergan and Julian Sand, I think he might feel like he's being pushed, which is a good thing.
One other thing, Justin Clayton, a buddy of mine, says, how do you feel about those? See, I'm fine with Tommy Rees. I thought it was a bad play call. I mean, look, I don't think there are a lot of people saying this is fireable. I don't think so. No. Even if this was the call, and this wasn't like Milroe had options and went with the worst of the options, I'm like, this is okay. I'm okay with what he did over the totality of the season. And I got to think one other thing. Titania Conover, I think, Conover, anyway, it's gone by now. She said, Auburn almost beat y'all. Y'all shut up. We almost beat Michigan. So do we get to go play for the title? This almost stuff doesn't help us in football a lot. So
Maryland almost beat Michigan. What does that mean?
That's a good point. It does make me feel bad that New Mexico State and Maryland.
Tennessee was more impressive versus Iowa than Michigan. What does that mean? Well, what does that mean? It means nothing. It means nothing is what it means.
It means nothing. But anywho, that's going to do it for. I'm spunt, as they say. I know it's not a word. But man, y'all go easy on Milroe tonight. The guys are going to have it rough. Y'all go easy on Seth McLaughlin tonight. Y'all go easy on Tommy Rees tonight. I know they had 3 bad games.
Talking about the SEC football champions. SEC champions, best conference in college football, beat the 2-time defending national champions to win the SEC. They're champions. They'll always be champions in this group. And, hey, 1 play short against a really good Michigan team. A lot to be proud of, and more importantly, a lot to improve on. And I think that's what about this offseason will be about, is being 1 play better than you were the year before.
And I'll say this too, if any Michigan fans are out there enjoying this, man, y'all go celebrate, go enjoy it. I'm telling you, I've been a part of a dynasty for 15, 16 years now. It's a lot of fun. These moments suck when you lose, just like y'all lost in the playoffs before too. You understand. But I'm going to give you nothing but props. I thought Michigan played very, very well. You certainly earned my respect. And I think a lot of Alabama fans would agree. Some of them are going to have a hard time accepting this. But I promise you, I'm telling you, I think Michigan looked pretty doggone good. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys a ton for chiming in. I don't care who you pull for. Thanks for chiming in. We appreciate you guys a lot. So for Jimmy Stein, I'm Luke Robinson. We'll get with you tomorrow. Until then, roll tide.
Roll Tide.